Hey, you! No.
Listen up, yesterday was my birthday, and
None of you!
wished me a happy one.
Least you can do is go to twitch.tv/MBT-Yu-Gi-Oh! For my 24-hour birthday bash right now. I'm going to be playing Yu-Gi-Oh! All day and all night long for charity. We're benefiting the Stonewall Community Foundation with a ton of your favorite content creators. And I will also be there. Okay, that's it. Video, go. Good afternoon, Jank enthusiasts. I'm MBT, and this is 10-minute testing. You see, a few years back, on a routine dig for dinosaur fossils, a landslide broke out and nearly broke my leg in two. They had to operate quickly, so they used the dinosaur bone I found to save my leg. Ever since, I've had what they call Dino DNA. The doctor says it makes me stronger than the average Joe. Alright, are you idiots on Yugi Jerk satisfied? Let's start the video.
He's gotta be making this up. No, I saw it in a cartoon once.
So here's the list. This is Angel Sanchez's second place list from the most recent Remote Duel Invitational. As always, I'll give you a background about the archetype, a little bit of a discussion about what I hope the deck can do, and of course, the card by card. But first, I've shown off some field cloths from Pyramid in the past, but they sent me some more, which is the fastest way to get my attention. Pyramid makes by a large margin the highest quality and prettiest field cloths I have ever seen. Look at that. If you use a cloth mat, you're probably used to that sort of like faux suede fabric. A Pyramid uses extremely high quality materials that really feel like you're not playing on a portable carpet. Their Affogato, for example, is like this sort of scaly cloth texture. It's smoother than any field cloth I've ever touched before. The downside to this business model is because the material is in short supply, they sell out of stock pretty much almost immediately, so it's difficult to get one. To compensate, they've started monthly unlimited runs. This one's is Sweet... Oh my god, what the fuck? Sweet... it's a Madolche mat, and at the time of this video, they have just dropped their Chase variant with raspberry coloring. Oh, this one is real nice. If you want a couple of bucks off your order, use the code that is on your screen right now at the link below. Okay, video time. And we're back. Let's dig into Dinosaur. So Dinosaur is a deck that, unlike the dinosaurs, simply will not die. Over the years, there have certainly been a widespread collection of decks that include dinosaurs and have seen competitive success. Dino Rabbit springs to mind, for example. But for our purposes, let's take a look at Dinosaur after Dino Smasher's Fury. Structure deck Dino Smasher's Fury was released in April of 2017, almost half a decade ago. This deck is a who's who of cards I am personally very sick of losing to. Overraptor, Misk, Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, Lost World, everything we think of when we hear Dinosaur today. In fact, this deck was so popular at the time, it became a meme on Reddit to respond to the players asking how they could get back into Yu-Gi-Oh! With the recommendation that they buy 3 of this structure and call it a day. At least one person took it to heart and got 3rd place at a London regional on a McDonald's playmat that June.
3rd place, and what'd you play?
Dinosaurs, 3 structure deck. We got 3 of the vanilla 2000 beat sticks.
Unfortunately, early Dinosaur suffered a problem faced by many decks in 2017, Invoked, Pendulum, and ABC among them. It wasn't Zodiac. 2017 Dinosaur lists looked very different than they do today, playing the True Kings as a way to consistently pop babies and Danglong for long involved combo setups, anything to stop the onslaught of Drident. After the 16 ban lists necessary to ban Zodiac, Danglong was no longer an option, so decks pivoted to setups that relied on Ancient Fairy Dragon, Naturia Beast, and Yazi, among other things. During 2018, many duelists explored Shadal engines as a supplement to the deck, mostly just to give it some breathing room on the draw, and finally, Lost World became the default build around 2019. Certainly other splashes have seen success. Paleozoics, for example, synergize with Lost World, and Survival's End is an incredible blowout, but these are far and away the highlights of Dinosaur's extremely long reign in the metagame. Finally, I would be remiss if I didn't mention Overraptor specifically has seen some crossover play as an FTK starter. By sending a Carboneddon, you can summon a tuner from deck and make either Hauka Fibrax or Ebe the World Chalice Justicar. Thank God this card has gone extinct. This list is the next step in Dino evolution. Scrap Raptor is a recently released piece of support that proves to me that Konami is playing a prank on me specifically. This card enables a series of absurd Orchist setups, among other things, but here it's being used to summon as many level 4 monsters as the deck has zones. Outside of that, this deck has all the hallmarks of Dino that have made it so oppressive and so frustrating for so long. Lost World, Overraptor, Misk, and UCT, alongside as many hand traps as we can cram into a list, and Imperial Order. Truthfully, the gameplay isn't too much of a derivation from existing Dino duel styles, but I want to get this video out before July. I have a sneaking suspicion next list might include a mass extinction event. So with that, let's get into the card by card. First, our Dino Dinguses. We've got 2 Ultimate Conductor Tyranno to clean up boards and push for damage, 3 Miscellaneousaurus to negate any chance of interaction our opponent has, 3 Soul Eating Overraptor, the unbelievably powerful starter that does everything, 1 copy of Dino Wrestler Pankratops. If we could play more, we would. This card can not only be summoned off of Petit Pteranodon, it's also summonable from the double evolution pill that has become standard in the wake of Animadorned Archosaur. We've got a Giant Rex, instrumental to a lot of the combo setups, 2 Scrap Raptor, and 1 Scrap Chimera. This card is $40. Thanks, scalpers. We've got 2 Animadorned Archosaur. Did you know this is a common in the OCG? Anyway, here it's $90. 3 copies of Baby Ceratosaurus, 1 Petit Pteranodon. You used to play a 2-1 split on babies, but unfortunately, you will go through every single copy over the course of your turn nowadays. We've got 3 copies of Ash Blossom and 3 copies of Gamma for hand traps, plus a driver that I am sure to draw. We've got 2 copies of Double Evolution Pill, 3 copies of Fossil Dig, 1 Terraforming, 3 Pot of Prosperity. This is secretly the most powerful dinosaur card printed in the last couple of years, Called by the Grave, 3 Lost World, and an Imperial Order. In the extra, we have Borreload Savage. This deck can make Borreload Savage now. Why is Dinosaur allowed to play Borreload Savage? Why is Scrap Raptor a tuner? I couldn't tell you. We're also playing a copy of Omega because I guess technically you can make it off Gamma if you high roll. We've got a Logia, a Dolka, a Tornado Dragon, an Abyss Dweller, and a Dugaris. These are because the deck actually ends on Chimera as a 4 material, and you can't make a Dolka or a Logia with that. So Tornado and Abyss Dweller are instrumental to your end boards. We've got an Access Code Talker and an Apollosa, plus a Nightmare Unicorn, a Phoenix, a Lambda, really powerful card in this deck, a Scrap Wyvern, a Secure Gardna, and a Link Karibo. So with that, let's jump into the games. Our first match is up against Warrock. God, imagine paying for all of the staples that make it possible to go second, the Lightning Storms, the Forbidden Droplets, and then supplementing those with Warrock. Not stonks, folks. Not stonks. We're going first. Let's see what we can do with this hand. We're going to begin with a copy of Pot of Prosperity. You usually want to do 3 off of this card because all of your cards are functionally just the same card. I went for 6 because I'm greedy. We'll get a copy of Baby Ceratosaurus and then follow it up with a copy of Terraforming. That's going to add a Lost World to hand. We'll activate the Lost World, then normal summon this copy of Animadorned Archosaur. What do you know? We can chain block that activation. We'll pop this Baby Ceratosaurus and then activate its effect in the graveyard, going for Soul Eating Overraptor. Then we'll activate the Overraptor effect, targeting our opponent's token, and then we will prevent it from being destroyed using the replacement effect of Lost World to send a baby to the graveyard. Next, we'll get out Scrap Raptor. That's right, this is a dinosaur. Fun. We'll go for Miscellaneousaurus for 2 here in order to get a Baby Ceratosaurus into rotation, and then we'll activate Scrap Raptor, popping the Baby Ceratosaurus so we can trigger its effect and get a copy of Giant Rex. From here, we're going to go into a Link Karibo and a Scrap Wyvern. We'll trigger the effect of Scrap Wyvern, bringing back the Scrap Raptor, sending the Scrap Raptor so we can trigger both the Scrap Raptor and the Scrap Wyvern, sending the Scrap Wyvern because we want a Link 2 in the graveyard so we can end on a really powerful Savage. We'll go for Chimera and Scrap Raptor before going into Savage. We'll trigger Savage for a 2, as I said, before overlaying for a Dolka, going for Double Evolution Pill for an Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, going for Giant Rex's effect, and ending on Abyss Dweller as well. God, this is just such a frustrating board. Probably not smart to summon the second Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, but I thought it would be funny, and I was right. We're going to Ash Blossom our opponent's copy of Warrock Mountain. They're going to go for Forbidden Droplet, but neglect to send a monster, so we'll negate it with this Borreload Savage Dragon. Next, they're going to go for the new Warrock and get over the Abyss Dweller. They'll trigger the effect in the battle phase, we'll negate it, and they will set one and pass. Warrock, not the tier 0 super threat we all thought it would be after the new support. This should be a hop, skip, and a jump to lethal. We'll trigger the effect of Soul Eating Overraptor, add a card to our hand, and I guess just switch everyone to attack and go to the battle phase. Good game, folks. So it's time for game 2, and our opponent is playing Zombie World Eldritch. This is not my favorite build of the deck, but I think it's really funny in like a cosmic sense that these cards have been out for like a year and a half and we still don't know what the best Eldritch list is. We're going first, and ideally we'll be able to make something happen here. We're going to begin with a copy of Fossil Dig, and then Miscellaneousaurus. Nice infinite impermanence in the hand. It is going to accomplish very little. We'll go for an Animadorned Archosaur and trigger its effect, sending a copy of Baby Ceratosaurus to graveyard, so we can use its effect to bring out a Soul Eating Overraptor. We'll trigger the Overraptor effect and add a copy of Baby Ceratosaurus to hand, which we will then normal summon. That's right, we hadn't yet normaled. We'll tag the Baby Ceratosaurus out, and then trigger the one in the graveyard to go for a Scrap Raptor, whose effect we will activate, popping the Baby Ceratosaurus. We're on 4 material already, and they have not had an opportunity to infip. We'll go into a Scrap Wyvern, and we were gonna use it to pop the Baby Ceratosaurus Babycerosaurus. Okay, that's a pretty decent negation. We'll go for the double evolution pill here. We're going to go for an Ultimate Conductor Tyranno and then trigger the effect of the Giant Rex to bring it back. We can overlay for a Logia and then go for a Lambda. This telegraphs a little bit, but realistically, what are they going to do about it? Our opponent's going to start with Zombie World. We will go ahead and negate it, and they call our bluff. Normal summoning a Unizombie. Yes, we did have the Psy-Frame Gear Gamma. One fun thing about this deck is because our Ultimate Conductor Tyranno is still online, as our opponent leaves the main phase, we can activate its effect, popping our driver, so that at end step, when we banish this copy of Gamma and trigger the effect of Lambda, that Gamma is still live. So silly. We draw a baby off the top, so we win. We'll activate the effect of Animadorned Archosaur to get a copy of Double Evolution Pill and activate the effect of Babycerosaurus's cousin Petit Pteranodon in the graveyard in order to get an Oviraptor to our side of the field. We'll go for Unicorn and spin that back row, and then, I don't know, let's go for Access Code Talker. Who cares? We're going to pop our opponent's last remaining monster, switch this monster to attack, and get it for lethal. So it's time for game 3, and you know what that means, a best of 3 versus meta. Our opponent's playing Drytron, and this is the Herald of Perfection version, not the Herald of Ultimateness version. I do not like this one as much, I don't think. It just has a little problem cleaning up boards that the other doesn't really, but suffice it to say, Drytron is a very powerful deck in a post-Leov environment. Mu Beta Fafnir and Herald of the Divine are just unbelievably strong cards. We're going to begin with a copy of Pot of Disparity. Again, we're going for 6. I am just the greediest man who ever lived. You cannot stop me. And though we already have a Fossil Dig in hand, there's no once per turn on that card, so we're going to get another one. We'll fire off this copy of Fossil Dig. I'm just baiting the droll here. If you have it, I'm going to blow you out with Gamma. Instead, I'm going to go for a Miscellaneous Source for an Animadorned Archosaur, then we'll trigger the Animadorned Archosaur in order to pop this baby in our hand. We have both double Evo pills in our hand now. We'll go for the Soul Eating Oviraptor and trigger its effect so we can get ourselves a copy of Baby. Fun fact, had not yet normal summoned. We'll use our normal summon on Baby, then Baby, then Baby for a copy of Scrap Raptor from deck using its effect to pop the baby and trigger the baby to get a copy of Giant Rex into rotation. After that, we're going to make Lingribo and Scrap Wyvern using its effect to bring back the Scrap Raptor, then popping the Scrap Raptor so we can trigger the Scrap Raptor and the Scrap Wyvern. And then afterwards, we can go ahead and get a Scrap Chimera to hand. We'll add our extra normaled Chimera to the field before special summoning out a copy of Scrap Raptor, making a Savage Dragon, equipping the Scrap Wyvern, going into Logia, double Evoing into a copy of Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, and like last time, I am telegraphing, but realistically, who cares? What's my opponent going to do about it? At end, we're going to go for a Fossil Dig for a Miscellaneous Source. I guess I didn't need it after all. Our opponent's got a pretty good grip. They're going to begin with a copy of Nova. They'll go for Alpha. Afterwards, they're going to Cyber Emergency for a Zeta. They'll make a Linkaribo, then activate Alpha, pitching the Zeta. We'll Gamma here. I figure that's probably the one we don't want them to see. They'll go for the Zeta as well. That's going to get them a second copy of Meteonis. I love that they're playing more than one copy now. Seems very good. But unfortunately, after resolution of Gamma, I will tuck their board face down and they will concede. So it's time for game 2, and this is a very strange one for all involved. Double Herald of the Orange Light versus triple Lost World. Our opponent's going to begin with a copy of Cyber Emergency, getting a copy of Zeta to hand. I ash here thinking maybe I can cut them off the Ritual spell, but they have double Herald. They'll pitch them both. They'll go for the Zeta and then get a copy of Meteonis and trigger the effect of Ben 10 in order to get Diviner of the Heralds. Why is this allowed to be searched off of Ben 10? They'll activate its effect, sending a copy of Herald of the Arclight to the graveyard before Drytroning out a copy of Ben 10 and overlaying for Beatrice. That's neat. They're going to send a copy of Gamma to the graveyard, then trigger it, sending this copy of Perfection in order to bring back 2 materials, which, coincidentally, is enough to make Mu Beta Fafnir. They'll activate that effect, sending a copy of Alpha to the graveyard for next turn before Meteonising out this Herald of Perfection. Now, they don't have any fairies in the hand, so this is not a big deal until I see the Ava sent to the graveyard. Okay, 2 negations. Can we get through it? Well, we can start with a copy of Lost World, and then we'll normal summon a copy of Oviraptor. Chain blocking! God, I hate that you are allowed to do that. We'll give our opponent a Jureg and take a Pankratops for ourselves. We're going to the battle phase, and yeah, I like this a lot. We can send a copy of Babycerosaurus to the graveyard. It eats the Orange Light, but it means they have no follow-up whatsoever. We'll Pankratops at end of battle phase to destroy the Mu Beta Fafnir and make Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. We should be able to walk with this, I think, pretty easily, but they draw a Ritual monster, so they're able to pop that with Zeta to get a copy of Meteonis. They're going into Linkaribo. Okay, hold up right here. They Meteonis. I Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. Their monster's attack doesn't decrease as a result, but the Meteonis goes back in hand. Is that right? Am I stupid? What's going on here? It ends up not mattering. They have the other Meteonis regardless, and they'll go for it in order to get off DRA. Jesus, they're on everything here. They're next going to go for the Alpha in Graveyard in order to get a copy of Natasha to hand, and as soon as I see Natasha, I know that it's over. They're going to go for a Unicorn into an Access Code Talker. They're going to use Access Code Talker for 3, and then Natasha to take my monster. Okay, we know you win. They'll pop our Lost World and get in for well over lethal. Let's go to game 3. So it's time for that all-important game 3, and this hand is broken. Yeah, there's no way we lose this one. We're going to begin with a copy of Pot of Prosperity, and 6 again. I am the greediest man to ever walk the face of the earth. We find off the top. Lost World twice in the top 3. That's what I wanted. I guess I didn't have to banish my entire extra deck after all. We'll go for the Lost World, then activate Fossil Dig. We're going to get a copy of Baby Ceratosaurus to hand, then normal summon a copy of Animador Archosaur. Chain blocking, so we can pop this Baby Ceratosaurus, and then trigger its effect in the graveyard for the Double Evolution Pill and the Soul-Eating Oviraptor. We'll trigger Oviraptor's effect in order to get a copy of Miscellaneous Source into rotation. We'll go for it, and then we'll make a Linkuriboh using Soul-Eating Oviraptor's effect, targeting our opponent's monster to send another baby, which will turn into a Scrap Raptor. From here, we'll activate Miscellaneous Source for 2, and whoa, that's a monster I can pop with Scrap Raptor. We'll go for that, and then pop it. We have another summon this turn. We'll activate the effect of Baby Ceratosaurus to get the Giant Rex into rotation, and it's Wyvern time, baby. We're going to go for Wyvern, getting that copy of Scrap Raptor back, and then getting a Scrap Raptor to our side of the field, and adding a copy of Chimera to hand. We'll normal summon that Chimera, activate Chimera's effect, bring back the Scrap Raptor, and now we can just go into Lambda, into Savage. We could even make an Appaloosa, except I banished it for prosperity. Please don't make fun of me. Please don't make fun of me. Our opponent draws the hand trap just a little bit too late. They're going to go for the Nova. That's the worst possible one. They're going to the battle phase to walk over the Lambda. Good call before going into Linkuriboh and activating Delta's effect. I don't have a problem with that. They'll activate Alpha afterwards. I'll negate it. They'll Orange Light. I'll negate that too. Did you know that Dolka is not once per chain? Very stupid. They'll go for Zeta. I will go ahead and negate that sucker with Borload Savage Dragon, and then they'll go for Gamma, after which I am just going to go ahead and fire the Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, sacking my Dolka. They'll pass back to us, and I'm pretty sure that's the end of the game. We'll special summon this copy of Pankratops. That gives our opponent a token, and that is just so strong. We'll go for the Miscellaneous Source, use it for 4. I think we still have a Soul-Eating Oviraptor in here. We do. We'll activate its effect in order to, I suppose, get an Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. This is way overkill, but I am still playing around Ibiru, so it's fine. We'll go for the Savage, negating the effect of the Linkuriboh, and then we will just attack all of the defense position monsters, activating the effect of the Ultimate Conductor Tyranno a whole bunch of times, and getting in for well over lethal. So we're back with the deck, and well, it's Dino. Let's do the pros and cons. First, the pros. 1, this deck is extremely consistent. Raptor is, among other things, another starter. Boy, did this deck not need that. 2, it's super forgiving. You can see in these games that I play slightly less than ideal, and it doesn't matter. I'm missing negates left and right and still walking with sets thanks to these big, beefy Brachiosauruses. And 3, it feels like a crime that this deck is allowed to play Borload Savage Dragon. Why is Raptor a tuner? And the cons. 1, it's actually pretty difficult to play this deck optimally. None of your combos are super linear, and each one beats a different hand trap, so while good Dino duelists will still see success, it takes a great one to get to Angel's Caliber. 2, there are hands that brick, I guess. They're kind of few and far between, but cut me some slack. I'm trying to find fault with one of the best decks in the format. And 3, there is no way it lives until July. No way. All in all, come on, Konami. I'm sick of this. So that's that. As always, thanks to my patrons Dominic Ernst, Hakuo, AJBYGO, Alex Perea, BB Poison, Blue Fanfiction Inc., Brandon Green, Chibi Gohan, Connor Kid, Crispy. I am so sorry. Crispy's a longtime patron, and I left them off the card for no reason whatsoever. My apologies. None of this week it looked like you were a patron. Whoops. Dimsum05, Dubs Rewatcher, Frosty, Jacksack PhD, King Magic Ruler, Night Mary, Kylie Denton, Major Rusty, Matt, Mike Carlotti, Rocky Hernandez, Rose Lapine, Sarah Routledge, Sean Elling Jr., Space Condor, Space Dandy 1993, Adam Trevino, Adrian Bra, Afro Ninja 123, Alex Dominguez, Alfred Hendricks, Amaranta V, Andrew Benson, Andrew Ferruia, Andrew Horseman, Apex TCG, Ball and Stalin, Based Madoka, Billy Williams, Blackacre, Blake Root, Bleh, Brandon Keys, Breaker the Outrage, Candide, Captain Breadbeard, Chad Boards, Chad Weatherington, Chase Smith, Torps Away, CJ Alex, Cole Schulian, Colin Gustafson, Control for the Win, Crystal Red Fox, Daffy Deathblock, Dan the Man Hoban, Danny Guadalupe, Darcy Tubbs, Dive Missile, Dogma, Doug Parslow, Dr. Batman, Dying Eyes, Dylan Charles Appleton, Distrin, Eileen Sappho, Emperor Stover, Ernesto Ibarra, Fighting Fanglong, Fisker Whiskers, FUTR, Game of Wolf, Gavin K, Hank Cheesecake, Helios the Helios, Her Roof, How to Lose, Jose Mina, Incredibly Slow, Isaac Jackson, Jane Linya, Jason Leonard, Jay Gordon, Jeff Leonard, Jesse Cox, Jonathan Wallace, Jupe, Jose Luis Cortez, Joy or John, Juliet Chulian, Callie, Corey Hess, Kurakaze, Lake Bayer, Lawrence, Leah Lisbets, Lottie, Lovre Plesse, Lucas Angles, Lucas Geerdes, Lucas Arizzo Hansen, Major Duncan, Matthew Taylor, Max, Meadow Edits, Mezzo Emrys, Michael Oskvark, Michael Smith, Miles Edgelord, Mimes Are Creepy, Miska Aronin, Muna Arashi, Nick Extreme 99, Newer Soup, Nitro Skull, Nix Dolores, Noom, No Penguin, Omase, One Glad Morning, Ousterin, Papa Dragonite, Par 2, Picnic Blasted, Please Don't Ban LP, I'm Gonna, Precise by Spike13, Pro FB2, Riley Malo, Sam Pinney, Sapphic Ashley, Scrafted, Sean Deal, Sean Flynn, Sandoria, Seraphine, Shy, Standards Objective, Swinkles, Tate Rosencutter, The Carl Moxley, The Saucy Pickle, This Machine 237, Thought Auditor, Why Am I Here, Yordley, Hee-Hoo, Yuri's Best, and Yukie. If you like what you see, please consider subscribing. And if you want to be part of the process, consider following me on Twitch as well. See you next time.